All right, so today we're taking a deeper look at my 1997 Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul Standard. In a previous video, I described this guitar as a 1957 reissue. That is not correct. That assessment was based on the specific format of this guitar's serial number. Having emailed Gibson, they wrote back that no, this is not an R7. This is a 1997 Custom Shop guitar. It's a one-off. It was not part of a limited run or a series. It was a custom order, what today we would call made to measure, that went to Yamano Music in Japan. Now, Yamano has a reputation for taking only the best of the best, right? So that might add some pedigree or some credibility to this one being all that bit of extra special. I think that's cool. It doesn't impress me that much. What impresses me is the guitar. The top on this thing is absolutely electric. There is no angle from which I ever look at this guitar, and I don't like weep in my heart a little. I really, really love this quilt top. And I'm a sucker for quilts in the first place. I know a lot of people find them to be excessive and they're gaudy and too much and all that. Well, I'm not one of those. I think that all of this captured wood grain and that shimmery variability in it, man, that just kills me. A good quilt top on a guitar. We'll get a nice good look at the long neck tenon there in the neck pickup route. You can see those routes are lovely clean. Lovely clean. Here are the backs of our 57 Classic pickups. You can see that these look like they never were covered. This was not a covered pickup that was uncovered later. Looks like they were installed uncovered. No idea where our little patent applied for sticker went for from the neck pickup, but that is not uncommon. It very likely is in the route somewhere. I'm not going to go fishing for it. If it's in there, it can stay there. You'll notice that I have double stacked the thumb wheels on the ABR1 bridge studs. That's an old common trick to help prevent those studs from leaning over time. By having the lower thumb wheel there, it gives that stud something to fight against if it is wanting to shift and bend in one direction or the other. That's just for structural support. It does not do anything for tone or better bridge height adjustment. Nothing like that. That's silly. Here, this is something I noticed when I was taking everything apart a few minutes ago. The stock tailpiece, I really thought this was a lightweight tailpiece. It's not. Now that I get it off, this is definitely a full weight tailpiece. You can see there's no kind of cast markings on there anywhere other than the cast line down the center, which does extend from full edge to edge as you would expect on an original Gibson part. But there are no other branding markings on it or anything that I could find. It is just the part itself. So pretty neat stuff there. The bridge, this is a Gibson wire retained ABR1. You can see the wire there holding the saddles and everything in place, so nothing flies apart when you take it out. There you are, Gibson ABR1, fine. Bridgey bridge. I actually just set the intonation on this guitar recently, and for the A string, for the fifth string, you can see I had to run it right up to the limit of adjustment. But that's okay. It still came out like really close. It's within like 5 or 7 cents at 12th fret. So yeah, close enough. No one's going to hear that beyond the third row, right? I love that joke. That just makes me laugh. You notice that our switch ring, please don't call this a poker chip. Come on, folks. That's just crude and crass and gross. Notice that our switch ring, the embossing has worn off over time. I love that. That to me is super cool. I get a little happy grin on my face when I see that. I love the natural aging, some of that, not quite tarnish, but just a little bit of patina that started on the hardware. Love it. You see quite a bit of that on the tailpiece as well. I am going to polish the tailpiece while I've got it off just to see if I can't knock a little bit of a shine back onto it. But the fact that it doesn't just have it, I still think is super neat. So yeah, fun stuff there. Onto the neck and fretboard, I have not polished these frets. They're just this good. I have scrubbed just a little bit of finger cheese off of the rosewood. I've not conditioned this or done anything hardcore with it yet, but yeah, that's all coming. And I am going to polish the frets. We always like to look at first, second, and third fret for fret wear. Typically, if a guitar is going to have it, it'll have it there first. And you might be able to catch just the faintest whisper of the start of fret wear here. But on a guitar that definitely still has its original frets, and it's nearly 30 years old, I think we're doing just fine here. Yeah, so I'm going to do nothing else to them. There will be no sanding, no abrasive scraping, anything like that. We're not going to be filing, no leveling and crowning, none of that. They're going to get a surface polish and go right back together. I love the way this guitar plays so much, I'm afraid to wreck it. So yeah, we're not going to be messing with any of that. Oh, speaking of which, the astute among you may notice that I do have my bridge height set a little higher than most players would probably prefer. I do like a slightly elevated action on a guitar like this. I just find it easier to control adjacent strings when bending up into them. If I've got a little more height off the fretboard that I can kind of get a fingertip under it and kind of think of scooping under it to catch that string and pull it up. Wow, look at that. That's calluses, folks. That's a player. Look at that. Playing, hitting the ropes. All right. Headstock looks great. There are a couple of small little pokey dots in here. There's one. You can see it right on the edge of that glare line. Yeah, I mean, you are super nitpicking stuff. Most of what you're looking at here is dust. Faint outline from the truss rod cover. I mean, look at all the adjustment space left on the acorn nut. I mean, it's huge. No signs of binding or anything gross through the nut. Interesting discussion might be what this nut material is. For a 97 custom shop guitar, I don't know if they were using Corian yet. They might have been. But if so, I think it would have been a very new spec at that time. We'll need to look into that a little bit more. I don't especially care what this material is. It's going to stay right there until and unless Tenchi ever gets a refret. Quick note about that, I do name most, if not all of my guitars. This instrument's name is Tenchi, the Japanese word for angel, as a nod to the 27 years it spent in Japan. And you can see that these are the Kluson style tuners. You can tell that from the smaller ferrule bushings on the headstock. You don't have the bigger Grover type with the nut that sinks down on them. I think the Grover type are probably stronger, sturdier, long term, and these do have just a little bit of a wiggle wobble to them. Under tension, here actually the fourth string is quite good. Under tension, you'll never notice it. The third string is quite bad. You can see that one's got some real walk to it. Second string, very little. First string, none. Yeah, so who knows? Like, will this tuner wear out and need replaced in another 27 years? Maybe. I don't know. You can see not a lot of yellowing or discoloration in the clear coat. That would be apparent right over that mother of pearl Gibson logo, were there any? But we see nothing of that sort here. So yeah, we're going to clean this thing up and get it back together. Also, a big thanks to Sinister, who watched this video or a similar video recently and saw that there were a couple of dings right here in the edge along the lower bout. Right there's the other one. That's the one that he saw in the unboxing video. So cheers for that. Thanks for pointing it out. I don't know that I had been aware. So we'll take a deeper look at that when I get the guitar flipped over to finish polishing.